Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive that's all about helping you rediscover joy in everyday life.
You got it.
We'll be exploring the life hack article, How to Be Happy. Simple steps to rediscover joy in everyday life, to hopefully uncover some really practical tips.
Right.
It's really easy to feel overwhelmed, with everything going on these days
Definitely.
and kind of lose sight of what truly makes us happy.
Mm-hmm.
But, this deep dive is all about giving you those actionable steps to reclaim that joy. So
Exactly.
you ever feel like happiness is just out of reach?
I think we all do sometimes.
Yeah, it's like you're chasing after it, but it's always just a little bit ahead of you.
The carrot on a stick.
Yeah, exactly. But the good news is
Yes.
it's not about some massive overhaul.
Right.
It's about those small changes, those meaningful habits that you can build into your daily routine to cultivate more joy.
It's those little things that make a big difference.
They really do.
Yeah.
And speaking of small things that make a big difference, a quick reminder to stay focused on the road while you're listening.
Yes. Always a good reminder.
All right, so the article kicks off by addressing something I think we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Feeling overwhelmed, like just that constant sense of being on all the time.
It's the reality for so many of us.
It really is, and it talks about how, this stress and anxiety we feel so often, it really stems from packed schedules, that feeling of always needing to do more.
Oh, absolutely. It's like we're always in overdrive.
Exactly.
And you know what the article really highlights?
Yeah.
Is that these feelings of overwhelm, they're actually signals. They're our body and mind telling us that something needs to shift.
It's like our internal alarm system going off.
Exactly. It's saying, hey, something's not working here.
Right, like pay attention.
Yes.
Something needs to change.
Exactly. And one of the strategies that the article suggests
Yeah,
is time blocking. Have you heard of this?
I have. I've actually
Oh.
been experimenting with it myself.
How's it working for you?
It's been really, really helpful. Essentially it's about dedicating certain blocks of time for specific tasks. So, for example, I block out the first hour of my morning for focused work, no distractions.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It has been a game changer. Like, it really helps me tap into that flow state and be so much more productive.
I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah. And for you listening,
Right.
think about, is there one thing in your day, just one time killer, that you could reduce or even eliminate?
It could be anything.
It could be.
Like mindless scrolling on social media.
Yes, or like getting sucked into those online rabbit holes. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. Those can really take over.
Right. And what if you reclaim that time
Yes.
and dedicated it to something that actually brings you joy?
Or moves you closer to your goals.
Right. It's such an empowering realization that we have more control over our time than we think.
We really do.
We do. And speaking of control, remember to keep two hands on the wheel whenever possible.
Oh, yes. That's important.
It gives you much better stability and control, especially, if something unexpected happens.
Absolutely. Always be prepared.
So the article then goes on to talk about this idea of flow.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever experienced that?
Of course, it's that magical feeling
Right.
when you're completely absorbed in something.
Yes, you lose track of time.
Exactly. You're just totally in the zone.
And the article suggests, thinking back to activities, you used to love things that just brought you pure joy.
Like what kind of things?
It could be anything, playing an instrument, painting,
Oh, I love painting.
building with Legos, anything that made you forget about the world around you.
Those are great examples.
And it suggests that reconnecting with those activities, even for just 10 minutes a day, can really reignite that spark of joy.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be about like being an expert or achieving some huge outcome.
Right.
It's about rediscovering the pleasure of the process, just that pure enjoyment of the activity itself.
It's about being present and engaged.
Exactly. Like if you're gardening, it's not about having a picture-perfect garden. It's about the feel of the soil, the scent of the flowers, that connection to nature.
It's about engaging all of your senses.
Yes, and speaking of engaging all your senses, it's a good reminder to be fully present when you're behind the wheel too.
Oh, absolutely.
Avoid distractions like texting or fiddling with the radio.
Keep your focus on the road.
Your focus should be on the road ahead.
100%.
Now, the article moves on to something that can be a real barrier to happiness:
Oh, and what's that?
low self-esteem.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. And, it suggests that negative self-talk we all have sometimes can really prevent us from experiencing joy.
It's like having this constant inner critic.
Yes, always putting us down.
Right, always pointing out our flaws.
But the article offers a really powerful antidote.
What's that?
Celebrating our wins, no matter how small they are.
That's a great idea.
It's about training our brains to focus on the positive.
Yes, to recognize our accomplishments
Exactly, and to acknowledge our strengths.
instead of dwelling on the negative.
Right. And so the article suggests keeping a win journal.
A win journal.
Yeah, where you actually write down those little victories, or just taking a moment each day to mentally acknowledge what you're proud of.
I love that idea.
That's a good one. And while we're talking about small things that make a big difference, let's talk about checking your blind spot.
Oh, yeah, such a crucial safety habit.
It only takes a second, but it can prevent accidents and keep you and others safe.
Absolutely. Always check your blind spot.
Now, back to the article. It also emphasizes the importance of designing routines
Okay. Routines.
that support our well-being, like being intentional with our actions and choosing activities that nurture our emotional health.
So it's about creating a foundation for happiness.
Yes, through our daily choices.
I like that.
Instead of automatically reaching for your phone first thing in the morning,
Right.
maybe you start your day with a few minutes of meditation or gratitude practice.
Or swap out that evening news scroll with something more relaxing.
Exactly like reading or listening to calming music.
Those are great ideas.
It's about making those conscious choices that align with our values and contribute to our well-being.
It's about being mindful.
Yes. And speaking of being mindful, let's remember to make conscious choices behind the wheel too.
Absolutely.
Always be aware of your surroundings, anticipate potential hazards, and drive defensively.
It's all about being proactive.
Right, rather than reactive. And now let's shift gears a little bit and
Okay.
talk about energy.
Energy.
The article emphasizes that our energy levels play a crucial role in our overall happiness.
That makes sense.
Right when we're feeling drained and depleted.
It's hard to be joyful.
Exactly. It's hard to feel joyful and engaged. And the article suggests that instead of relying on quick fixes,
Like what?
like caffeine or sugar,
Oh, yeah, those are tempting.
they are, but we should really be focusing on increasing our overall energy through those healthy habits.
It's about giving our bodies what they truly need.
Right. And the foundation of that, according to the article,
Right.
is good quality sleep.
Oh, yeah, sleep is so important.
It recommends aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night
Okay.
and establishing a relaxing bedtime routine.
That sounds good.
I'm a big believer in the power of a good night's sleep.
Me too. It makes a huge difference.
It really does. Our mood, our energy levels, our overall well-being.
Absolutely.
And the article suggests creating a calming bedtime routine,
Like what kind of things?
like dimming the lights,
Mm-hmm.
taking a warm bath, or reading a book.
Those are all good ideas.
Things that signal to your body
Right.
that it's time to wind down.
It's about creating those rituals.
Yes, and speaking of transitions, let's talk about transitioning lanes safely.
Yes, always important.
Always signal your intentions, check your mirrors and blind spot, and make sure you have enough space before merging.
Those are key steps.
They are now along with sleep. The article also highlights the importance of nutrition for
Yeah.
sustained energy.
It's all about fuel.
Yeah,
What we put into our bodies matters.
it really does.
It affects how we feel and how we function. It's about nourishing our bodies with those foods that give us energy, not just a quick burst and then you crash, you know?
Right, sustained energy.
Yes, exactly. The article recommends focusing on whole foods, fruits and vegetables, lean protein.
Okay,
The things that really give our bodies the building blocks for vibrant health.
it's like choosing premium fuel for our bodies instead of settling for the cheap stuff.
That's a great analogy.
And speaking of fuel, don't forget to keep your own vehicle fueled up too.
Right.
Running out of gas can lead to some dangerous situations.
You don't want to be stranded.
No, so make sure you've got enough in the tank before hitting the road.
Always a good idea.
Now, along with good food, regular hydration is key.
Oh, absolutely.
Dehydration can really zap our energy.
Without us even realizing it,
Sometimes I don't even realize it.
it sneaks up on you.
It really does.
Yeah.
I know I'm definitely guilty of not drinking enough water throughout the day.
We all are.
And the article suggests keeping a water bottle handy
Mm-hmm.
and just taking sips throughout the day.
Stay hydrated.
Little things like that can make a big difference.
They really can. And speaking of little things that make a big difference, let's talk about those little adjustments we can make to our posture while driving.
Okay.
You know, sitting up straight, adjusting your mirrors properly. These small changes can actually improve your alertness and your comfort on the road.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we forget about those simple things,
Right, we get so focused on everything else going on.
but they can make a world of difference.
It really can.
Now, the article also emphasizes the importance of movement,
Movement.
for boosting energy and mood.
Oh, yes. Getting our bodies moving.
It doesn't have to be anything strenuous.
Right. Just get the blood flowing.
Exactly. Even short bursts of activity,
Mm-hmm.
like taking a quick walk or doing some stretches, can really revitalize us.
It's a great way to recharge.
It is.
Mm.
I'm a big fan of incorporating movement breaks throughout the day,
Me too.
even if it's just for a few minutes.
Yep. Even 5 minutes can make a difference.
It really it helps me clear my head, re-energize, and then I can come back to my work feeling more focused.
It's like hitting the reset button.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And speaking of staying focused,
Right.
remember to stay focused on the task at hand when you're driving.
That's so important.
Multitasking behind the wheel can be extremely dangerous.
It's one of the biggest risks out there
So keep your attention where it needs to be,
on the road.
on the road and your surroundings.
Absolutely.
Now let's shift gears again
Okay.
and talk about connection.
Connection.
The article dives into the importance of connection for happiness.
It's a fundamental human need.
It reminds us that humans are social creatures, and relationships are a cornerstone of well-being.
We're wired for connection.
We are, and yet sometimes in the busyness of life, our relationships are the first things to get neglected.
It's easy to let them slip.
The article encourages us to nurture our connections, even in small ways.
I think that's really important.
It doesn't have to be about grand gestures or elaborate plans.
No, just those little everyday things.
Exactly. It can be as simple as sending a thoughtful text message,
Right.
picking up the phone to call a friend, or scheduling a regular coffee date with a loved one.
Those little things mean a lot.
They really do. Those small, consistent actions can make a big difference in strengthening our bonds and reminding the people we care about that we're thinking of them.
Absolutely. It's all about staying connected.
It is. And, when we're talking about things to be thankful for, I think we should all be thankful for those drivers who practice patience and courtesy on the road.
Oh, I agree with that.
A little wave of thanks or a simple act of letting someone merge.
It goes a long way.
It really does. It can brighten someone's day and create a more positive atmosphere on the road.
It's about spreading kindness.
Yes, exactly. Now, the article also highlights the impact of acts of kindness, even small ones.
Little acts of kindness.
It's about those little gestures that brighten someone's day and make the world feel a little bit kinder.
Like what's...
It could be a compliment to a coworker holding the door open for someone volunteering your time. These actions not only benefit others, but they also have a positive impact on our own well-being.
It's a win-win.
It is. And speaking of win-win situations, let's talk about defensive driving.
Oh, yeah, it's always a good topic.
Being aware of your surroundings, anticipating potential hazards, and driving defensively can really help you avoid accidents and keep everyone on the road safe.
It's about taking responsibility.
Right, for our own actions behind the wheel.
And creating a safer environment for everyone.
Now, the article challenges us to try practicing gratitude and kindness.
Okay.
Even in those challenging moments. Those times when we're feeling stressed, frustrated, or maybe even a little bit angry.
It's easy to be grateful when things are going well.
Right. But what about those moments when life throws us a curveball?
That's when it can be even more powerful.
It is, for example, instead of getting furious when someone cuts you off in traffic, try to reframe the situation.
That's a good idea.
Maybe they're having a bad day. Or maybe they simply didn't see you.
You've all been there.
We have. It's about choosing compassion over judgment, understanding over anger. That shift in perspective can create a sense of calm and even joy in unexpected places.
It's about letting go of that negativity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of letting go of negativity, one of the biggest mistakes we can make behind the wheel is driving under the influence.
Oh, absolutely. Never, ever do that.
That's just not worth the risk to yourself or others.
It's so important to make responsible choices.
Now, as we wrap up this exploration of joy, I want to circle back to the idea that happiness isn't a destination, it's a journey.
That's a great way to put it.
It's something we cultivate through daily choices, mindful actions, and a willingness to embrace the ups and downs of life.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Some days will be easier than others.
Right.
And that's okay. Progress isn't always linear.
Life is full of twists and turns.
The key is to start small, be consistent, and celebrate each step you take towards a more joyful and fulfilling life.
And be kind to yourself along the way.
Yes, absolutely. We're all works in progress. And speaking of progress, let's remember that we're all sharing the road together. Let's be courteous, respectful, and mindful drivers.
Well said. It's about creating a positive and safe environment for everyone.
Yeah, it's so inspiring to think about the power we have
Hmm.
to shape our own happiness.
Yeah, it's not about chasing after some like picture-perfect ideal of happiness, right?
No, not at all. It's about those small, everyday choices
Exactly.
that add up to a more joyful and meaningful life.
It's about creating a life that feels authentic and aligned with your values, finding joy in those simple things,
Yeah.
connecting with the people you love.
Yes. And you know what else can have a surprisingly positive impact?
What's that?
Being a courteous and mindful driver.
Oh, I completely agree.
A simple smile or a wave of thanks can go a long way in creating a more harmonious atmosphere on the road.
It's true, it can make the whole driving experience a little bit brighter for everyone.
And speaking of keeping things bright, remember to keep your headlights on, especially during dawn and dusk or in inclement weather.
Oh, that's so important.
It improves your visibility to other drivers and helps ensure everyone's safety.
It's all about being seen.
Yes, exactly. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into rediscovering joy, I want to emphasize one key takeaway. You are not alone on this journey.
We're all in this together.
We all face challenges, we all experience moments of doubt, and we all have those days when joy feels elusive.
It's part of being human.
It is.
Yeah,
But the beauty is that we can choose to shift our perspective even in those difficult moments.
right. We have that power.
We do. We can choose to focus on the good practice, gratitude, and extend kindness to ourselves and others.
Those are powerful tools.
They are. And remember, even the smallest steps forward can make a big difference.
Don't underestimate yourself.
Exactly. Don't underestimate the power of consistency and self-compassion. So as we bring this deep dive to a close, I want to leave you with this final thought. Your happiness is a journey, not a destination. And like any journey, it's a lot more enjoyable when we're driving safely and responsibly. Thanks for joining us, and may your journey be filled with joy.